Hello.
Hi. I'm Callista.
I'm Blake.
And I'm Carter.
So we're gonna tell you a little bit about how we made our guitar. So this is our guitar. So for the body of the guitar, we use the box that Miss Pena's STEAM class made.
Okay, so for the neck, we went down to the K building and we used some of the wood scraps outside. So we overlaid them over each other and glued them together with using another piece under it. And we had originally attached it with nails, but that wasn't strong enough, so we used a drill to screw it in.
And Jessica Huerta brought her own guitar strings and we attached it accordingly.
Pegs of the guitar we used, originally we had the screws face down, so we were gonna twist it, but it was a little bit unstable, so the way we did it is we drilled them into the wood planks, and then we just tied the guitar strings around it and glued it and fastened it. And then one more thing for the body, in order to keep the surface part, like the face part of the body, staying up, we had wooden pegs that we got from the K building to keep it up so that it forms like a whole box kind of mechanism. So what went well on our project?
It looks like a guitar, although it could be more aesthetically pleasing. It didn't sound that well, but we'll explain why later in the physics part of it. Overall, the whole guitar is pretty sturdy and well put together. Like nothing falls off or anything, and the strings are like, there is some tension, like enough that we could have made it with our own hands.
Like it produces a pretty good sound, but
The neck of the guitar is a little off balance, and while that doesn't do much, it kind of restricted us from making like frets, and it did kind of affect the tension of the strings themselves. The strings were very difficult to wind, meaning like we couldn't get the tension we wanted. We just didn't have any clamps, and we had to wind it all with our hands, and because of that, we couldn't really get the tension we wanted or preferred.
because the strings were some of them were so thick and some of them were so thin, when we had to pull them across, it was like burning our hands, it was so tight. But unfortunately, because our pain got the better of us, the strings weren't as tight as we'd like them to be, so the tension wasn't there. That means, like, therefore making the frequency and the pitch of the guitar not sound so high. In order to save time, maybe we could have used rubber bands instead of guitar strings, so it would have saved us time in the building process and also kind of allow us an opportunity to kind of fix other things that were going on with the guitar. We noticed that in other people's guitars, if they used rubber bands, the sound was resonating a lot better than with the strings because the tension was greater with rubber bands. And then we probably should have bought, Jess will mention this, but
hello, Miss Pena. I couldn't make it at the beginning of lunch because I was busy, so I'm just gonna pop up really quickly and say something, if that's okay. We struggled a lot kind of just brainstorming ideas and like gathering all our material and final thoughts to build the actual guitar, so it took up a lot of time, and I think we were like really ambitious and like trying to have like a guitar that was like most accurate to an actual guitar, and it just like took up a lot of time. I think we should have brought better material sooner, because the first day of building we kind of like didn't have everything we needed. So one example was we forgot to bring big nails, and for like connecting the neck of the guitar to the body of the guitar, we needed a really big nail and we didn't have those, so we tried to glue it, but then that didn't really work.
another thing that we could have improved on was created a shorter neck. So because the neck was so long, it took us a little bit longer to pull it tight enough because we had such a long distance to cover. Whereas if it was a shorter distance, we wouldn't have to pull as tight because the neck would already be so close to the body, and we could have also used rubber bands for that because they stretch a little bit less, so it would have been tighter. And another thing we could have improved on was adding frets. So as we did in our notes for the pre-lab, if you add frets, when musicians play guitars, by pressing down, it shortens the string, and the shorter your guitar string, the sound that's emitted is reflected at a higher pitch and frequency.
Okay, so the physics of the guitar. So first off, I'm gonna talk about the waves. The waves are produced by these strings, which are connected to node points on each side of the guitar. The tighter the strings are to the node waves, the quicker the speed of the waves like vibrate, which produce a richer sound. Resonance is when these strings vibrate over the sound hole, it resonates inside the guitar body and it produces like a similar frequency that the strings emit. And the strings with like that are more coarse and like thicker produce a lower frequency with a deeper sound, and the other strings like that are smaller and like less dense produce a higher frequency, which is like a higher sound. So what was wrong with ours is that we weren't able to physically tighten the strings tight enough, I guess, to the point where the speed was high enough to produce a deep, rich sound for the specific like these are made to be tightened like very hard because they're actual guitar strings. The harmonics, we were unable to like actually play a song because we don't have frets and we can't adjust the tension of the strings without undoing everything, so that's why we couldn't adjust the harmonics.
The amplification, so we were not able to apply enough tension, so the sound is kind of quiet on our guitar. There needs to be more sound for the guitar body to amplify it, which was an issue we faced and something we probably should have, like, if we had more time to like try to improve so we can hear the guitar better.
So Carter did a lot of the kind of big building parts because I'm not very good at that. But can you tell us, Carter, what was kind of the biggest building feats?
We definitely had trouble, like I said earlier, winding the strings. Stringing the pegs was also a challenge. Miss Pena actually helped us do that. These blocks down here, we originally had a different idea how to connect these strings, but we changed mid-project and that kind of slowed us down, but the way we kind of configured it, it's nice and sturdy. The actual neck of the guitar wasn't fastened until the end of the project, where we got a larger nail and screwed it in. Before that, it was a little wobbly, so luckily we were able to secure it. These little blocks, they're more just to tighten the strings. This allowed the strings to be tighter, and because before they're even a lot looser than they are now. So with the extra tightness, we could hear the strings a little better.
All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry for not being in the video so much, but hopefully it's okay because I edited this video. So anyway, hope you guys learned something new about physics.